There are thousands of combinations of settings on a typical DSLR, but only a few will help you make better flash pictures. You've probably learned that the built-in flash on your camera just isn't going to cut it, and a Qflash will solve most flash problems. But what are some tips on setting up your camera for great photos from the Qflash? Sit back and watch this.
Lesson 4. Getting started with Qflash. Camera setup Q&A. Camera exposure modes. Which exposure mode should you use on your camera for the best Qflash performance?
Any of them except program mode. It's true. All the functions of the Qflash will work well no matter if your camera is set to manual exposure mode, or shutter priority mode, or even aperture priority mode. Just stay away from the full program mode because we don't want the camera to choose the f-stop and the shutter speed for us. We would rather make those decisions ourselves. For my on-camera flash shoots, I tend to use manual exposure on my camera to allow me to control how much room light gets blended into the shot. But I have been known to shoot in aperture priority mode with my Qflash. Just don't tell anybody.
Program mode. Doesn't TTL flash require the use of program mode on the camera?
Nope. All of the TTL, iTTL, eTTL, and QTTL info is passed between your camera and your flash in all camera exposure modes, including the manual exposure mode on your camera.
Camera metering. What's the best exposure metering setting to use on my camera?
For any type of flash photography, it's best to turn off the matrix or the multi-spot metering systems in your camera and instead use only one metering point, or at least as few metering points as possible. This will reduce the chance for error due to a really bright or a really dark background and is typically referred to as the center weight or spot meter setting. And it's usually labeled as the smallest of all the settings on your exposure meter dial.
Autofocus modes. Which autofocus mode works best for flash?
Canon users will want to choose the one-shot AF mode. Nikon and Fuji folks will find the single AF servo mode is best. And other camera users will choose the mode that allows the autofocus system to confirm the focus before it releases the shutter. Once you get that set, you can choose how many sensors you want to use in order to lock in the autofocus system. And choose only one. This is called single area autofocus, and it allows you to place the exact point of focus, which not only gives you the most control over where the camera will focus, but it will give the most precise distance measurements back to the camera and back to the Qflash and result in better TTL and better auto exposures. The Qflash has a very powerful autofocus tool built right into it. It's an infrared focus assist that will help you focus correctly in very low light conditions. This Qflash focus assist works automatically, but only when you have your camera set to the single area autofocus mode and you choose the center autofocus sensor.
Neutral colors. How do I get the best neutral color from Qflash?
Some cameras will provide really good color using the flash white balance mode on the camera, but others, well, don't. You can get creative with your colors by using the adjustable color temperature mode. That's that little K white balance mode. But there's no doubt that using custom white balance on your camera will always provide the best and most accurate color possible. Try to plan ahead in your shooting setups and grab the various custom white balance that you may need with all the flash settings that you may ever use in your shoot, like 50% flash and 50% window light? Or grab another custom white balance with only a little bit of fill flash? Getting control over custom white balance before you shoot is a quick way to save lots of time and money later fixing color issues in Photoshop. Be sure to read the custom white balance portion on your camera's owner's manual for exactly how to make it work on your camera. Then, use it. I do.